universal love and light wisdom and Ascension offerings. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we have the class of our mastery class, learning how to work with the consciousness fields, understanding that we are a consciousness body of Source Creator, Gaia, Ascension body, consciousness grids, and fields of light and love within the all that we are, within the all that we exist within. And that class, we have it on the first Saturday of every month, and that is now up for purchase in our resource library. For those that so desire to connect with that recording, it was a great class. A lot of information. So most often than not, we often say in our classes that, just open and receive the energies from the councils and the beings that are with us, co-creating as the Christ energy lives through me and is offered through me in light codes and in love and all that is. And the recordings help for those that want to study and make notes for their own transmutation and changes. So that recording is up in our store, and also those that want to receive our monthly or regular newsletters of our classes and our offerings, any new videos, then go to our website and register for the community there. And what I wanted to talk about today, which has been coming up frequently in the changes that we're moving through, so very accelerated, is really the all of humanity is shifting through these really beautiful transmutations of who we are, the whole of all that we are, who we believe ourselves to be, and really shifting that at the core level. And these celestial alignments and offerings and retrogrades, all of these miraculous alignments through all that we are as a galactic planetary body, moving through new space, if you will, in our galactic positioning, allowing us to receive greater light codes, higher dimensional light codes that clear out all that we are as a multidimensional being of light, the chakra mechanisms, the energetic bodies, the multidimensional bodies, the four lower bodies that we're all here to heal and rebalance. And how we do so is those core beliefs and those patterns that we've collected and kind of collaborated with other beliefs over time. We say time, we mean the energetic experience, that Psyche template that we've been talking about, the Akash that gets turned on for healing. All of that is you as an energetic being, because the physical reality is just an illusion. We create that out of our mastery of co-creative skills that we have and who we are, so that we can move through the experiences in these healings, in the expansion of the self, in the exploration of godness, of oneness, of allness, of isness, of Source Creator, that we are as love. And so we create the physical reality, we create the relationships of other aspects of who we are at varying vibrational levels to call in, to continue the co-creation of the expansiveness of our exploration through all that is, and exploring love, and exploring who we are as love. And in allowing ourselves to move into new navigational energies, really going within and creating that self-care and reflection time to really start pulling away and releasing the layers of those beliefs that are really at the most raw levels, to allow us to expose the essence of our soul. The essence of our soul is pure love. And it is an essence, it's a vibration. Essence is a vibratory feeling and energy of who we are. The essence of love, the essence of creativity, the essence of excitement, those are all vibrations. And the more that we begin to feel and talk and behave within these vibrations, the sooner we can understand that we're co-creating through these vibrations. That's how we co-create, is through the feeling of, how do I want to feel and co-create in that way? Those energies live through you. The vessel, the temple, your sacredness, the temple of all that you are as a physical being, multidimensional physical being, energetic, spiritual, and allowing it to live through you. And so the beliefs and the core energies that make up codes within who we are affect all that we are. They affect our cells. They affect how we emotionally co-create. how we allow ourselves to perceive in the reality, and what we perceive then gets trajected out into the reality and then co-creating. And so most that are awakening or even unaware at that point are co-creating in a way that is by chance. You're just kind of not really sure what's going on. In the awakening process, you begin to say, well, I have greater control of what's going on in my reality. I'm creating what I'm perceiving. So how can I shift what I perceive? And the topic that we'd like to create today is shifting the perspective on manifestation. Has always been such a big part of humanity's awakening, and it's been really great. But a part of manifestation is the releasing and letting go and creating through grace. And grace has been a word that that has stumbled many, because it's not, from my perspective and what I've said often in my recordings, part of my soul's mission and my soul's agreement is to fully explore grace and what that really means in an experiential, co-creative dynamic. And grace is not what we've been told or taught, that we're not deserving. And that's what all of the sacred texts that we've understood, not all of them, but that's the general perspective and perception of what grace is. And it's, for me, and I've been very forthright in saying that that's not the understanding that I have as source, that I have experienced. The true grace of God is your own allowance of your worthiness to be all that you've always been. And once we allow ourselves that own recognition, I recognize and I acknowledge that I am worthy of the love that I've always been. That's when grace flows. It's not something that we're not worthy of receiving greatness. And those are old dogmas that we're releasing and letting go of, because they've shaped so much of our lack of worth in our entire socioeconomic human experience. And it's that essence of grace is what the vibration that I offer as the Christed experience, to come forward and allow the energy of grace, to know that these are vibrational offerings, and one can open up at the heart and allow oneself to feel it, if one so desires to. And it's your ability to say, I'm ready for a higher expression of truth. I'm ready for a more pure expression of truth that is based solely on unconditional love. And unconditional love is something that our co-creative collective has never really truly experienced before. But this is what's moving into these new navigational waters and territory, is that you're able to co-create in an unconditional way, allowing yourself to be and live and feel unconditional. Unconditional in your expression of who you are. Unconditional in your expression of yourself, to acknowledge yourself in whatever energy you so desire. That's sovereignty. You are, in any moment, you're allowing yourself the ability to perceive and experience yourself in that experience. Sovereignty, whether it's a lower vibrating frequency, a negative frequency, or one that serves you and allows you to feel your gracefulness. And so you have that opportunity. That is sovereignty. You're sovereign, free being that has free will to create and co-create and perceive your reality in whatever way you choose. And so that grace is allowing yourself, I'm ready to acknowledge and perceive myself in a reality that truly is benevolent within love, is benevolent within the goodness of source, creator, spirit, all that is, the universe creator, God. However we choose to describe the intelligence of all that is, the intelligent design of all life, that we are now entangling and weaving into new timeline experiences. But to accept and to acknowledge ourselves in whatever vibration that we want to create and co-create an experience, to co-create yourself as graceful. To allow yourself that graceful experience of flowing with source, that allowance can only be done by allowance. And how can we co-create in this way? As the collective allows itself to co-create and say, we want to perceive all beings within the collective as equal, as one. And so there's many aspects of our collective that right now don't feel as one, that don't feel as appropriated oneness with all other aspects of the collective. And they've been divided and segmented in every way, whether it be through age, whether it be through segmented through religion or race or creed, whatever we want to call it or define it, it does not matter, but it's been segmented in every way. So how do we create the oneness and the unification of all beings, of all life, so that all aspects of what we perceive is equal and valid and graceful and benevolent and good, seeing the God in all things, in all moments, in all aspects of life, because it is, because we are. And so one aspect that we often bring up is the children's collective. The children innately feel, the vibration they innately feel is that their opinions and their values are less than. They perceive themselves as less than, being told what to do, being taught what to do, being shown and being directed, and the socioeconomic energies that we've built within have allowed them to feel separate and unequal. And so what Joanna has discovered is that when the subtle body comes on, we end up co-creating within the vibrations of those that we're all around. The subtle body just takes on whatever vibrations it will show you. Well, that feels, that vibrational field feels different because they're perceiving themselves in that way. So the subtle body will show you these cues that if one is not aware, one will just continue co-creating in those experiences. But what we're here to do is awaken and become aware of and acknowledge who we are as co-creators of divinehood, and say, claiming and owning thy power, claiming and owning thy light, to stand within thy own light, put thyself in thy light, because that's your power to. I'm going to co-create this way, because the energies that one will awaken to through the subtle body, through all that you are, if one is not aware and awake and choosing that I am a dynamic being of light and I choose to dance with light, I choose to dance with Source Creator, and I choose to create this perspective now, because this is the perspective I want to create this timeline within, which is sacred, which is honored, which is benevolent, which is loving, which is all in one, creative, loving, Christed, the Christed toolkit that we've all been gifted with. And so the subtle body will alert you to how you're feeling and sensing and entangling within the field of the all. And what Joanna has discovered is that depending on where she's at, her body is so highly attuned, is that these energies can feel in varying ways, aggressive, confusion, frightened. You know, all of these energies that also feed from the collective energy, not only from the earth, but from the collective purging that's through eons, as Gaia is moving through her new codes of experience and ascension offerings. And so what we do as co-creators now is each and every one of us, as our subtle body turns on, is to say that, well, that might, because we have these subtle body cues for a reason, for healers, so that it attunes us to say, observe, detach and observe from the frequency, so that we can then attune with our higher self and the higher innate heart space, the divine sacred heart, your flow of source. How can I infuse new perspectives and new higher knowing that you are source, you're all source creators, you're all God. I believe you to be God because you are. Choosing those higher belief patterns and thought forms, then put those higher vibratory thought forms into the collective, so that the children now start picking up on those higher thought forms. Wow, we're dynamic star beings, we're great, we're gorgeous. Not less than or indifferent of. Then the perfection of what, you know, our socioeconomic system will still continue until we change our consciousness, because we're fed it through, you know, the media and everything on what we deem to be appropriate. You know, it's fed from a myriad of different angles, and these children are all picking up on it, and they're also feeding off the energies from the grid and from the Gaia and from the collective. And so oftentimes why we walk around feeling worried or feeling as if, you know, many of the Akashic traumas that we've experienced through Atlantis and through Lemuria and all of these, you know, tragedies through the earth histories that we feel through certain cycles, because time is a spiral, a cycle. And while we feel these certain energies as the earth is continuing to release and we transmute through our higher state of being, that I'm going to transmute and return to my center of love. And those thought forms become higher vibratory thought forms and higher consciousness thought forms to say, my body's alerting me to energies within the field, but I can choose to come within and I can emit and stand in my center. I claim my power, I claim my light, and I create a new perspective that we are one. We are co-creators of God. We are co-creators with the entanglement of pure love. There is no less than or fear that we can hide from, because when Joanna was going through her experiences, she would want to just clam up and hide, because those experiences called in other vibrational traumas and remembrances from the Akash, the psyche template, that those experiences were attached to many other lifetimes, that it was not safe to come forward and be her dynamic, beautiful self, to co-create and express source creator. In whatever timelines or whatever thought forms are being created, we can choose to perceive all in a higher moment of oneness and grace with source. That puts that higher vibrational potential and fans it out into those vibratory potentialities, those consciousness fields, those things that become form and matter as we create form through our intention of love, our intention of our gracefulness, our intention of, unifying who we are as beings of great consciousness, as beings of great light. And the acknowledgement of grace, acknowledging that you are a divine being of source creator, that you're a divine being of, as a creator of source creator, of God. And see the beautiful Mother, Father, Son there coming through. I'll give them space in all that we do. Thank you, Mother, Father, and source creator. And so grace, my experience of grace, and it's been something I've pondered for many years now, and understanding the vibration of grace is allowing yourself to be fully loved, and to give yourself the acknowledgement that you are grace. You are the grace of God. You are the gift of God. You are a gift put forward to allow yourself to express, experience, and explore love. You are love. And love is infinite. It's eternal. It's indestructible. At the highest vibration, it is the elegance. It is the foundation. It is the platform of all life, evolution, love. It just is. It's the frequency that coagulates and collaborates with matter and spirit and form. And how we perceive, if our bodies are imbalanced, if our multidimensional bodies, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the etheric, if that is imbalanced, if the perspectives and the beliefs that we've been carrying on for eons, or what we're being projected from society or from those around us, are through imbalance, then how we co-create will be that of that same vibration. And so grace is your acknowledgement and your acceptance, your ability to accept yourself as the loving gift that you are as source creator. You are a being, you are a temple, you are sacred, you are benevolent, and all that is you, moving in fluidic movement as source creator, not your will, divine will, as divine will flows through you. Because at any moment, our divine will is only at where we are in our consciousness awareness. Might not be for the highest and greatest good. Because at any moment we're healing, at any moment we're letting go of beliefs that were archaically placed upon the collective, within the DNA, within whatever we've come to clear and heal, and arise to the perfection of what we've always been. And so aligning with the divine will of source creator is that allowance. I trust whatever is going to flow through me in this moment unconditionally is divine will. It's for the highest and greatest good. And that is your ability to release control. That control factor is the ego keeping you safe. So the more that you can allow that daily reflection and self-care to have the ego surrender into the soul, the divine sacred heart space, and allow source and your soul team to live through you from the center of who you are, and get used to that surrendering of control, that surrendering of thinking you've got to manifest and make things happen. Because now we're at the manifestation point in which all of these energies and all of these clearings and all of these higher vibrational realm potentials are for us to allow source to live through us. And that the perfect amount of codes, the perfect amount of Adam Kadmon, the perfect amount of source creator lives through us. But it's the higher mind that will be one with the divine sacred heart that says, well, maybe I hold space in this experience and allow whatever to unfold with those to unfold, because it's of their highest and their best. So the higher mind is, again, that's that oneness that will direct and source living through you, that says, this is the highest and best action at this point. And your guidance system, your compass is at your center. And to allow that to unfold gracefully, to allow it to unfold that you have that power to walk with source in complete unconditional allowance. And that's grace, to allow the grace to unfold, the grace to know of higher direction, the grace to know of your higher wisdom, the grace to know of your fluidic movement through life with all consciousness fields, with all grace, the grace to know that you have higher choice and sovereign power to claim your inner light. This is my inner light. I have earned it, and I walk with source in this way. And I allow this co-creation to be in this way. And I ground and anchor this grace to be in this way. I choose to create with grace in this way for the benevolence of the greater good. And that comes through those reflections to say, well, that didn't quite feel right because I was releasing pain of subjugation, of abandonment, of rejection. There's so many things that the soul goes through to heal. And it goes through those healings chakra by chakra by chakra, because safety will relate to a certain chakra. Heartfelt love and those abandonment issues are at the heart and at the solar plexus. So those chakras release those quantum, densities that are ready to be brought back into through the infinity symbol, through infinity breath, through infinity movement of all creation, through love, to be brought back in and say, where do I believe myself to be, and who do I allow myself to be through graceful allowance, through the graceful knowing of my perfection? I choose to bring it to a higher vibration. So as these are released and presented to me, because you'll know, as we've often through many of our offerings, you'll know what you're working on by what's unfolding in your reality. And especially with these, celestial alignments. Am I working on rejection? Am I working on my own self-worth and my own self-value? And because these energies are so very deep and steeped within us through eons of human exploration and experience, these will come back in deeper and wider levels. Our self-worth, our value of self-worth. And that is that self-worth, from my experience, because of the depths and our quantumness of all that is through the omnipresence, we move through an infinite number of experiences, ever expanding our gracefulness, ever expanding our ability to love and be loved, our ability to explore our creativity, our ability to explore ourselves as source, because we're infinite. And there will be those vibrations that will be exploring infinity as we allow it. It's an allowance. We're allowing our infinite potentiality to come forward, because we've never been taught or told or shown or known ourselves to be infinite and eternal and indestructible and loving. And so that's why the reflections of what have I been working on today, and to go through those reflections, as we said in our last few videos, is to create that self-care often throughout your day, so that you're not carrying any of these energies with you day after day after day, and then also toppled onto whatever we're receiving in the collective, because as you move about, your energy field is connecting and taking on the energies of all those others. That's why we mentioned different collectives. Anywhere that you travel as a light worker healer, if your subtle body is turned on and you're attuned and aware to it, you can feel the subtle body will alert you to the vibrations that are held within that collective. So as a light worker and a healer, how can you stand? It's just the same as in your home. What vibrations are within the home that are the highest vibration? Because once your subtle body turns on, you can feel that. And you'll just get a word, or you'll get a remembrance or a memory that will tune you into, well, this is the vibration that I'm feeling right now. How can I change that? How can I shift it? And it's up to each and every one of us that as the subtle body turns on and becomes more attuned, the third eye, all that we are as a multidimensional being, that we're being ever mindful and ever aware and present and owning our sovereignty, not to be afraid of it, because there are those moments that will shake you, and remind you of fear. that you're not aware of what to do and how to create, because again, these fifth dimensional templates are new. We've never co-created in this way before. And so those moments of fear will most likely be triggered because they're connected still with many Akashic frequencies that we our multidimensional bodies remember as pain or suffering or subjugation or death, whatever it might be. But to transcend that fear and to say, okay, I'm going to a new level of co-creation now. And it's time that I face this fear of voicing who I am, of allowing the sacred voice, the graceful voice of God to live through me, of source creator of all that is, of spirit. This voice of source is my freedom of expression, is my sovereignty gift to co-create, to be who I am as spirit. So I must face this. This is who I am in this new level of co-creation. But I trust myself. I trust myself with source. And these things have been unfolding in my daily reality to show me you're ready to step up to a new platform now and honor yourself in a higher vibrational way. But it can only be done when you're going to acknowledge yourself as this new version. I'm opening to a higher vibration of grace. I'm opening to a higher vibration of love, and I need to allow it. Because your soul, all that you are, your higher self, your soul team, all that you are, will continue to offer you things in your reality until that allowance is done, because energy must move. It must be allowed to change and shift and transmute. If we're holding on and resisting, then those experiences keep coming back with different people, they wear different masks, they wear different clothing, but it's all us. And that's why, we can be softening with the fear and say, well, I'm creating that fear through that interaction with that person. It's a co-creation of mine so that I can truly see that is where I'm pulling that from, and I can heal it now. We're all versions of one another. We're all versions and energies of one another at different times so that we can offer that experience, the grace that it's required, and allow a higher vibratory purity, perfection to be felt, known, and seen and experienced in its reflection to you. The more that we allow this purity of who we are, the grace of who we are to flow through us, to allow to be flowing through us, then we'll receive those higher reflections in our reality. And so how do we align in our allowing who we are to co-create who we are? It's just that unconditional trust that you're one with source, and to create those reflections in your daily meditations. I desire source creator to live through me in the highest of benevolence, so that I can walk in this new template of co-creation. I can walk in these new vibrations, that I can allow all that I am to come forward. And that knowing that I'm going to create at a new level of higher knowing, of inner truth. And it's going to require all of me. It's going to require my senses. It's going to require me to sit and reflect about communing with the higher mind and the heart. What's the best action here? Serving the greater good, serving me and my soul's new path, my new agreement, my new mission, if you will. And these missions are just meant as new agreements to take you into new exploratory genres of energy through evolutionary love and co-creation with the all. It's not meant as stagnant, because it's changing as you create every choice. Your mission, your agreement changes, just like we talked about in our mastery class, that everything is within creation, threads of energy and threads of potentiality that you have, but it's in our free will. And every time we make that choice, that thread is pulled and releasing and fanning out potentials for us to make that next choice. So if we're making those choices from energies that are imbalanced or in fear or hiding, that we've created all those fears, we've created the illusions so that we can have the experience that we're having through separation into unification. We've created it all. So if you're powerful enough to create that illusion of fear, if you're powerful enough to create that illusion of abandonment, of that illusion of rejection, then you know that opposite must occur, because it's a balanced universe. This is the experiences of this universe. It's law. So as you connect with that vibration, feel into the vibration, well, I'm calling in this vibration of my perfection. I can own this. You allow yourself to step up into that vibration. You're feeling into it. You're offering that vibration in. I offer the vibration that I'm a whole being of love. I'm a whole being of light. I'm lovable. I am lovable, regardless of what experiences are in my akash. I'm lovable. And this is where the affirmations and the self-care and the meditations come in play, because we have to vibrationally entrain ourselves into self-love. It is a truth, it is a fact, but because we're beings of experience, we've been entrained to be unworthy, or to accept the control and the guidance and direction from our socioeconomic programs that are now, shattering, because of the consciousness levels are raising, and we're having to co-create new consciousness levels that many of you will be a part of. But to get to this part of new creative systems, it's not just a matter of saying we need better systems, but it's about honoring the multidimensional subtle bodies of all that you are, and feeling into what the collective is offering right now, and how can we perceive it in the purity that it always has been, so that it's being perceived in a heightened way, just as we offered the example of the children's collective. And it's that heartfelt projection of honoring sacredly. All life is sacred. So we project that sacredness into that collective. We project that sacredness into that energy of who we are as individuals first. That projection and offering of vibration offers that open potential for all others. It doesn't have to be. But it's how we perceive and how we project those energies that live through us that co-create those experiences for those collectives. Just like the natives or aboriginals, any collective that we want to talk about or allow a higher vibration of experience, it's all of us. We're all entwined in these experiences of the collective. And this is what the unity consciousness will show us through the subtle body. It's how have we co-created these perspectives of separation? And how can we repair it? How can we create greater balance? How can we call within the male and female of all that we are? Each and every one of us are repairing the male and female frequencies. Each and every one of us. We've played male frequencies, we've played female frequencies and male frequencies in any and all timelines, in any and all realms. So that we can, at this point of our awakening, we can know that I'm required as a multidimensional being of higher light to balance all that I am. And all of the virtues of the male, all of the virtues of the female can be brought in cohesion and harmonization, living through the divine sacred heart, surrendering into source. And we get to choose. I want to desire and allow myself to feel the vibration of devotion. I really want to devote myself to this new dynamic paradigm that I'm co-creating. What's that energy feel like? And it requires that the will of the male frequency, the compassion of the female frequency, and all of these frequencies that we can experience in any one moment as the serpent rises in our Kundalini awakening, in our chakra healing and balancing, that we're healing all of these aspects through the myriad of lifetimes that are being triggered that face us in our everyday life as experiences, as the vibrational healings that we as multidimensional beings are now doing and co-creating higher essences of Adam Kadmon bodies through light, through love. Then we are the mirror of the entire collective, of what the collective is moving through. And how many of us have come to assist in the new perspective, the higher vibrational perspectives of how we go about creating into the worlds and the experiences unseen, unknown. The fifth dimensional vibration is something we've never experienced as a human collective. So how do we do that when we're healing all of the Akash and we're reaching for these higher vibrational frequencies of a world that we don't yet know? And how do we do that? And that's where we're all sitting right now in these very beautiful and excited times. But as Joanna has been moving through her creational experience, understanding that what you're feeling and what you're moving through and the imbalances that you're moving through are co-creating those timelines. So how for us to be mindful and co-create from a perspective that is benevolent and whole at this level, and what we're feeling in the collective, and take ownership to where you want to perceive your reality. Otherwise, we just continue that same spiral of experience. And this is what we're stepping out of. to acknowledge it and say, that's the energetic perspective I'm feeling. And it changes all the time, and it's supposed to, right? You know, but to say, well, those are the energies I'm feeling and sensing. So how can I stand within my light, stand within my power, and I'm going to perceive something new, something higher vibrational. This is what I perceive, and this is what I want. This is what I'm really desiring or excited to co-create. And that's when the sovereignty of all that we are. That's when your power to say, I'm healed that now. I'm ready to step into a higher space of higher knowing. And I'm going to allow these frequencies of Source Creator live through me. And that's when the resistance is just let go and you're feeling that oneness with Source, as Source. That's grace. You're gracing yourself with a higher vibration of co-creation. It's unconditional trust. And if something comes up as you're unconditionally allowing, because it will, you'll get tested. You do at every level of co-creating. You know, you're calling in your teams and all of the beings that are supporting you, all of the consciousness supporting your consciousness with Gaia, that we're going to have a complete different video about, because it's important for us to understand and be one with the consciousness of Gaia, and really start honoring and gracing and allowing that energy to live through us as Source is. Because our agreements, all that we are as a collective, is linked and threaded with her. And the codes that we're given, the codes that she's given, it's all aligning with the divine Christic body, the water body that we're all living within. And where were we going with that? The grace. And yeah, so grace is, and so they were just offering me that allowance factor is so important. Anything that unfolds, there we go. Anything that unfolds that will test you. Where is your fear level at? You know, where is your allowance? Are you allowing yourself to be a full, honored co-creator with Source, where you're sovereign? You're knowing yourself as Source is sovereign. You will be tested, and your fears will come in and kick in, and they will, that ego, the negative ego, and that fear body, you know, that keeps you in those same limited, you know, frequencies, and the cells in degeneration, and all that fear does, the limitation that does, and affects all of us in every way. Now stepping out of it so that you maintain greater health, you maintain greater vitality, maintain greater youthfulness, and all that love does. It's eternal, it's evolutionary. That allowance of grace will say, okay, well, I'm being tested and feared here because that reminds me of another lifetime where I just backed down and I went away and hid in fear, back down. And that's why we have the experiences that we do, so that we gain that soulful strength of remembrance, of sovereignty. We're remembering that we have the ability and we have the grace to step forward and be all that we are as Source, all that we are as love, all that we are as joy, all that we are as creativity. It's our birthright. It's our birthright we're entitled to be happy. We're entitled to be joyful. We're entitled to be creative. We're entitled to allow others to also know their oneness with us. Your allowance that you are God as well. I'm opening that door of allowance. You are Source. You're offering that amplified vibration. Yeah, I am. I feel that. I feel great. Thank you. Instead of projecting or living within those same vibratory energies that your body and your energy fields are sensing. And what we're here to heal. We're here to co-create, create a new vibratory fields of time. Right? And that allowance, the more that you allow, you'll be tested in the more expansive fields. You know, can you move forward in that true centered knowing of who you are as a creator? So that it doesn't matter what's going on outside here. You'll sense it and you'll feel it, but you're living and you're breathing and you're creating from that graceful space of oneness with Source, your sovereignty. And it will be tested. You know, and this is for us to stand and say, well, I'm not just going to go with the flow anymore. I'm going to be who I'm going to be. This is what I want to create. I see this being a higher vibrational platform of respect and honor and sacredness. You know, so what the teams had said is that act in faith from this space of gracefulness, from the space of your oneness with Source, and it's soft and it's loving and it's allowing. And that's Source Creator, right? That's what I've been so excited to come forward and express all these years. It's just such a sacred, soft, and beautiful experience as being Source. It's graceful. And this is what grace really, truly means, and why we've attached it with so many beautiful symbolisms in the birds that we've attached it with. It's been the grace of God. And there'll be that aspect of you that will come forward and test you. Are you sure you're going to go against the grain and be who you truly are? Because this is what it did to you before. And you'll say, yeah, I'm owning it. Yeah. And that voice will go away because you're living in this space of vibration now. So just know that and be okay with it. It's you testing you. So what they've offered is that act in faith of this knowing of your gracefulness. And soon your reality will arrange and set itself up vibrationally as to this trusting, unconditional trust and gracefulness. So trust that your reality will vibrationally set itself up and arrange itself based on your living from this graceful essence of who you are. And there will be tests because that reality takes in our understanding, time to arrange. And you'll see things. You'll see relationships start to fall off. You'll see relationships that were okay before are not being held in the same level of value and honor and respect and sacredness. And you'll go through those changes and you'll go through those transitions. And this is why families and couples and everybody's going through so much transitioning, because they're awakening to that aspect of what was okay then is not okay now, because they're knowing and understanding and allowing themselves as spirit and as sources of love. And allow yourself to be fully loved and to be loved through allowance of the Holy Spirit, of the creator, source creator, you as source, you as your divine sovereign Christed being. You're recognizing that you have always been sacred, that you've always been graceful, that you've always been perfect. It's through that acknowledgement. I acknowledge myself as sacred. I acknowledge myself as graceful. I'm a co-creator with source. I'm sacred. And that again is that vibrational offering that you offer to the all that will vibrationally set the reality up for you. And many people, you'll see your reality shaping itself by what is you're holding subconsciously. So that soul desires you to experience. That soul will push and thrust you forward. And sometimes those that are very innately attuned and aware, is what I've been experiencing, is your soul will thrust you into these experiences because now timelines are closing off and new timelines are fanning out. We've got to get busy now. And sometimes they will be very quick fans, where you're having to heal and connect and correct and create at a very fast, accelerated pace, and again, recenter to realign, to recalibrate. So you might be healing in a kosh for persecution, as we've often talked about, but instead of taking months and even years to heal that persecution, it's being done within a week and through, like we've offered in our videos. And in the mastery class, we're recalibrating much more quickly to center. I'm releasing that density. I'm releasing that memory. I'm releasing that, and I'm transmuting, and I'm returning to love. I'm a pure, graceful being of God, source creator, spirit. And I'm going to align and I'm going to dance in this way. My intention, my attention, and my focus now is to co-create from this place of unconditional trust and sacredness with source. I believe in the sacred vibration of love. I am the sacred vibration of love. I honor the sacred vibration of love. I allow the sacred vibration of love. And I offer the sacred vibration of love to all others. And I perceive it in everyone before me. I perceive it in nature. I perceive it in my food. I perceive it in my water. I'm living this vibration of sacredness, and I offer it. And therefore it offers you, and it shifts and will arrange itself. The energies are arranging. And I've offered this, I think in one of our radio shows, that I woke up one morning and I saw the sacred geometry of the ceiling and the wood, because things are so, and this just shows you that our physical reality is an illusion, and we're moving through this physical reality to show us when we awaken from the dream that we're dreaming, that we realize that we've created everything. And we go through those moments of, wow, if I had have known I was that creative, I would have created a crystalline palace and so on. But this is what we're awakening to in this fifth dimensional frequency, is that we are. And this morning when I woke up, I saw the fluid movement of energy on the ceiling. And I saw the energy moving, and the beings of consciousness that are always with me, moving in and about those vibrations of liquid energy. And so it's very liquid and it's very beautiful, and allow yourself to feel that, again, that graceful elegance of source living through you. And it's soft and it's elegance. I mean, love is elegant, and this is where we're all healing the destructive energies that we've all created and co-created through separation and limitation, because it's always been fearful. We've had to defend ourselves and be in defense, and all of those energies that we're healing. And love is graceful, it's elegant, it's beautiful, and it's at the heart and soul of all that we are. Our DNA is so graceful. It's an elegant design, and from the biggest to the smallest, it's holographically beautiful as source. And how may we open in this grace? By acknowledging ourselves as grace. So ponder, what does that feel like? What does grace feel like? And how can we shift that understanding of what grace really is? It's not something that we're not worthy of. It's not something that we're always attaining but never ever reaching, and this is the dogma that we're all transforming. Source is we are. We're worthy, we're elegant, we're beautiful, we're dynamic, multidimensional beings of grace, of science, of spirit, of the collaboration of lifetimes. And we're bringing here in this reality to allow ourselves to stretch and reach beyond, to create the impossible, to create the unimaginable, and bring it and allow it to live through us, and allow it. Not for the smaller ego mind that's still going through much healing to say, well, I think it should be this way. Well, it's the surrendering into the highest grace of Source Creator for the greater good, because there's codes in that allowance. There's light codes that are connecting with the light codes of Gaia. They're connecting with the light codes of all other councils and beings that are also working with all other beings in your vicinity and your community and all that is. So we don't understand the intricacies yet, the elegance. Our collective bodies do. They're getting it. But we still are the ones that are lovingly commanding our cells and our atoms to repair itself, to heal itself, to awaken to what is all around and within and without. We're awakening to our grandness, our vastness, and our cells aren't going to react any differently unless we command it lovingly as our oneness, just as the collectives that we live within. Again, it's holographic. Our cells, our atoms are no different than the collective before us as Source Creator, as we are, down to ourselves. So again, observing, what are you reacting to? What are you not reacting to? What are you fearful of? What are you not fearful of? All of those observational moments that you allow yourself can allow yourself that sovereignty and that power to say, oh, okay, I get why I reacted like that. I'm going to heal that. I really care about who I am and what I feel like. I care about how I feel. I care about how my body feels. I care about this thing that I'm walking within as a temple of Source, and it's got so much to tell me and to work with me. So how can I honor my temple with greatness and with grace? Because I am. How do the social influences affect me as I'm walking around? And that's the subtle body. The subtle body, when you have beings in your collective, in your community, in your family, that we're all working within, and those energies will show you, so that we don't react and act out in fear and haste. Because these co-creative energies and accelerated energies will be manifesting things quite quickly. And this is where each of us, taking time for self-care, taking time to anchor and ground peace, pray and send out meditations of prayer for peace, for the all, for the greater good, the universal prayer, that all beings have what they need when they need it, for the greater good of all. That universal peace, and just sending out divine pink Christ consciousness energy to the all, anchoring peace within yourself, anchoring the grace and love within yourself of your oneness with Source. That allowance factor. You're allowing energy to always flow and be transmuted and transformed. That's allowance. It's when we resist and hold down and blockade that the ride gets really bumpy. Because that energy wants to be transformed now. It's in a higher state of consciousness envelope environment, and we need to transform it. We're needing to transform these collective energies. whether it's the Aboriginal, the aged, the children collective, the animal collective, the insect collective, the plant collective. It doesn't matter what collective, we're one. And we need to allow it its allowance of grace. How may we gracefully create those higher perspectives and thread them into our oneness? It's always been one, but it's been our belief systems and what we've been entrained at. And those reflections will show to you, they always do, because your oneness with Gaia, your oneness with the plant collective, your oneness with insects, your oneness with the children collective will show you in your experiences, whether it's all your interactions with those that you've created with. Everybody will go through it without exception. Without exception. Why we experience what we do collectively through the planet, whether it be through weather, whether it be through what we've created as a collective, socioeconomically, because those are the triggers that we need to see what we held it in. What vibration did we hold that in? And how may I shift my perspective of who I am, my belief of who I am, my trajectory of who I am, and vibrate something that's more graceful and more sacred? Whatever you emit and vibrate, your reality will adjust it. And that's when that reality fans out, when you're holding that vibration long enough. And what you tell yourself, my teams had sent me something, 2 months ago, and they sent it to me on a little tarot card, something that, a card like this. And they had written, my teams had written my unique message for me. And it was, what you tell yourself is so far profound what any socioeconomic system or belief shows you. So you have the power to transcend through what you know yourself to be, what you choose to entrain your vibration at, what you choose to allow yourself in that oneness with Source, far more than what is going on out there. And why it's so important that we re-evaluate and we influence through love and through compassion those frequencies that will serve us as oneness. Because unity consciousness is not how we've experienced. And think about it. Unity consciousness is all equal, all one. So yet why do we continue perspectives of less than, outside, not us versus them? And this is what we're here to rebalance. And we each do it, we each own it. So how can we re-own those to vibrations of sacredness, to vibrations of sacred love? And it begins within. And this is where the healing takes place. That's where the healing really takes place. Because you're allowing yourself to be as beautiful, as sacred, as omnipotent, as omnipresent, as graceful, as pure love, as Source Creator, within the trees, within the flowers, within the insects, within all things, all moments, the laughter of a child. That's you. And that's that sacred, if you're allowing that grace, you have acknowledged, wow, I just want to hear the beautiful laughter today. I want to feel the vibration of laughter. I'm going to allow it today. And the Source Creator will allow you to feel laughter in all moments and all things. And that's the sacred journey. Your intimate journey with Source, your intimate journey with you is love. And that reality will arrange itself. Collaborate with one another, collaborate with matter, collaborate with spirit, collaborate with the energies of Gaia, the life of Gaia, the breath of Gaia, the heart of Gaia that is sacred and graceful, so graceful. And we're worthy of it. That's our birthright. We're entitled to be graceful in how we move about co-creating. We're all, it's just beautiful. It's what Source has always wanted for us. I can't speak for Source. I'm an aspect of Source, but the beauty and the delicateness and the elegance and the joy that I've felt in my experiences with Source is sacred, and it's benevolent, and it's loving, and it's unconditional, and it's so graceful, soft and beautiful. And so those vibrations that we ache for, that we yearn for, that we create for ourselves, divine discontent. It's always experienced on the path to full enlightenment. Is that divine discontent is all that no longer serves you in your reality. It's all those moments where you feel that You're projecting lack of self-worth, so others portray that to you and reflect it to you. It's those moments of lack of respect, because that's what you're projecting. That's what you're feeling of yourself, and you're allowing the reality to arrange itself in that way. You're allowing yourself the lack of voice, because of whatever realities that you're here to heal and mend. And again, the reality will arrange itself in that way. And that grace is you're owning. I'm owning myself as a graceful and elegant being of source creator, and it's powerful. And we've talked about before, we offered this, I think, in one of our offerings a while ago. And they're all, our website, you know, the beautiful energy that we're all co-creating together. When we were trying to understand power and how our collective is shifting from understanding power and the power within, that's claiming your sovereignty, is that divine Christ of power. Your toolkit that you have, your creativity, your imagination, your multidimensional fields, your innate field, all that you are as a being of light. And that is your toolkit to create whatever it is you want to experience. Nothing is outside of you, it's all within. And that comes through your experience, you're reflecting through your owning of who you are. And it will ever expand and test you as you're, getting your wings and your legs, and you're getting comfortable with all that you are. But that power is Christed, and it falls within the virtues of the divine male and female. We have to experience it. We have to allow ourselves to grow and experience in this way. That's what makes mastery. Moving through the Kundalini, the infinity symbol, through the divine and male frequencies and the virtues. And it aligns with every dimensional vibration that we move within and we're ready for. And will be tested, ever heightened, through integrity, through our leadership, through our authority of who we are and who we say we are as divine co-creators, and allowing source to live through us. And it becomes an ever, as what Jesus had offered in his offerings, it's ever narrow, because it becomes less and less important. Those outside forces and factors become less important, and that's what was really meant. That the path of the soul and the heart is a very narrow one. It's love. And that love becomes more intricate and more steady and more certain. And it's that narrow path of the experiential path is wide and vast. Make no mistake about that. It's infinite. But what that means is through your ability to ever climb that ladder of acceptability on that sacredness. That sacredness is a vibration, and it's the honoring and respecting and valuing that we're all here to heal, mend, and co-create in higher vibrational ways. And we can only do that by experiencing what it feels like when it doesn't fit, what it feels like when it doesn't feel good. And then we move into those vibrations of what feels good. I'm going to devote myself to higher and greater reflection time, more honoring with my body. And that path gets narrow and narrow and narrow, so that you know who you are. That sense of that builds, that allows that, the freedom of the whole self through that pillar of light. Because you're standing as that pillar of light. And those vibrations that used to pull you in and pull you out, that becomes more sturdy and steady, and that you're not toppled anymore. But it takes practice. It takes that mastery, to say, well, those words don't fit for me anymore. We've all experienced it. These little social tests, haven't we? Where we've been out and, we've been with others and partying and, out socially in a gathering or at a restaurant, and there'll be others in the social environment, just as we've offered to our children when they're going through their social, defining and who they are. Words will be spoken, and there'll be energies and gossiping or whatever it might be that's going on. You have the potential to partake in it or not, and hold the vibration of who you are, or entangle with vibrations that don't feel like you anymore. So these are all of the social navigations that we go through when we're defining and reflecting upon who we truly desire to be. And we can look at it at a collective level, and where are the imbalances that need our greatest attention. And when you come up with those, look within and reflect upon, well, where are you holding those vibrations within yourself? Because when you do, you then reflect that higher vibration of grace and of benevolence and love through you, because that's the reason why you're connecting with it, because it's offering you that vibration for you to correct, for you to realign, for you to recalibrate to a higher frequency that really feels like your soulful self. And so we're all tested and offered these experiences because we're all here to heal it as a collective. And so a beautiful invocation that I've written down for Archangel Michael to assist that when you're working with, and I'll put this in writing perhaps, but for those that so desire, you can write it down and just, use your own words and kind of connect with this. When you're in your reflection time and you're moving in through that clearing energy of your chakras and releasing what no longer serves, releasing the density and clearing, and you're going in your preparation to opening into your oneness of source. This is an invocation that I wrote with Spirit this morning. I ask Archangel Michael and my healing teams, the Holy Mother, Father, Source, Creator, Spirit, to help me in my healing. For my teams to assist me in the transmutation, the cutting of any cords, patterns, or destructive energies, any inner triggers or imbalances that shadow the pure perfection of all that I am and have always been. These triggers show me of my divine one-ship. How may I step into a higher level of mastery in the purity of who I am as a divine being of love and self-mastery. I desire to seek myself at a higher expansive frequency of love vibrations that is my perfection, so that I may be utterly filled with creative liberation as a holy and divine living soul, in joyful, loving co-creation with Source, with Spirit, with Gaia, with my collective oneness, so that I may co-create higher vibrational experiences through the highest consciousness for the greater good, through the divine will of the Holy Creator. Amen. And those invocations and those affirmations continually align you to what your highest path is, aligning always with your highest will. What is my highest will? I realign to my highest will now. And when we're out in the collective and energies are feeling disruptive and destructive or angry or aggressive, because those are the energies we're all clearing. I've been so surprised at the energy vibrations, and they haven't felt comfortable, and why I've held the certain veils in coming here, because it's felt very aggressive. And if we're not aware of that and those energy feelings and acknowledging the vibratory world and existence we live within, then we're going to keep continuing on the destructive energy paths and timelines that we've always created. But it takes for us to acknowledge it and say, wow, okay, I'm going to offer a higher vibration. I align with my highest will and the highest will of the greater good. It's just a simple statement. I align with my highest will and the highest will of the greater good. I call light and love to me now. And have that open flow of breath and visualize light coming into you when you are out in the collectives and things do feel accelerated or pushy-pulley, or you might be in a rush that day. So just those simple affirmations when you're out and about. But that longer invocation that I just read can be used as a meditation when you're going in for, clearing your fields, or having that reflection time on allowing you to step up into that vibration of more sovereign creativity, so that you're aligning with your creative highest will, and you're having the teams come in and assist you with clearing and cutting any cords that can be just cleared. Because some of those energies that we've often mentioned in the Akash, they can just be cut and cleared. And we're walking around with so much density and so much of the collective stuff that we're clearing that sometimes we don't know. And unless you're doing your clearing daily, you can carry these energies with you, and it can clog and build up, like a big gnat, and so you can have your teams just clear it. And just, I ask that you clear me now of anything that doesn't serve me, that can be cut and cleared from this dimension and any other dimension, consciously or unconsciously. Sometimes we call them in unconsciously. It's just our fear body just automatically calls it in, because it's just what the human experience is used to. But we're masters now, and we choose to, whenever you find yourself in fear, just say, I'm going to shift that pattern. That's a pattern I don't choose anymore. I choose a pattern of pure unconditional self-love. You can create a new pattern. It's called entrainment. The higher vibrational beings showed me many years ago that we entrain at a higher frequency. So whatever you're releasing, replace it with a higher vibrational pattern that serves you. So you're releasing fear, you're releasing judgment, you're releasing lack. And those, they can span into different experiences. So anytime you're going through a healing, release the story of what that is and get to the crux of the vibration, that feeling. Well, it was lack. So feel that lack. Allow it to be released. Clear and release it. Clear and release it. So oftentimes what we do is, instead of feeling the fear, we skirt around it in the ways that we do. And we manifest chaos. Instead of just feeling the fear, release it and let it go. And pop into a vibration that you're feeling for. I feel a vibration of sacredness. What does that feel like? You don't even have to know, but just feel into, open and feel into it. Reach for the vibration you desire to experience. Reach for it. Reach for it. And that's what our mastery classes were offering, is how to reach into these fields of the all and live it through you. We're co-creating this fifth dimensional vibration, and we do so in the highest vibrational way that's of benevolence to the greater good. But we got to reach for it and call it through us. Otherwise, we're continuing that merry-go-round that's being offered through the collective vibrations that are the majority, that those light workers are here as the minority, as we're stepping about feeling our way into all of these vibrations, like, whoa, and the body goes into shutdown. The emotional field, the vibratory field goes into shutdown, but it doesn't have to. We can own that as our sovereign right to co-create as the creator that we are. And each of us have gifts, we have codes, we have all of these beautiful things that we're here to offer for the higher dimensional co-creating through sound, through tone, through color, through light healing, through art, and all of these beautiful things that we're raising the vibrational playing field. And why sound and tone is so important and the light language is so important, because they're codes that interact with the DNA and they bypass the experiential field. They cut through the density of the vibrational field. And why, when I make my sounds on our YouTube and on SoundCloud, those vibratory songs just cut through the density, because your cells will recognize. If you're allowing your cells, okay, cells, I want you to recognize light language and bring in the healing that's required. And I call in my teams and Archangel Michael and the healing teams, angels of sound and tone. And you've got that. It's your free sovereignty to move with higher vibrational beings and higher vibrational portals and energies and codes, and call it in and begin to play and start co-creating the high vibrational waves. That's why we have that sovereignty with source. The creational playing field is infinite, but how you get there is ever more narrow, because it will be purely with integrity. It'll be purely with the grace of who you know yourself to be as pure love. Pure love, not toggling back and forth with not conditional and unconditional, pure. And that is practice, that's mastery, because it's been so entrained in us. We're now entraining higher vibrations. And quite unorthodox. It's kind of who we are. Naturally we're beautiful, perfect beings of love. Just as every child born, they're beautiful, perfect beings of love. But it's the socioeconomic systems and the energies that we're brought up in, and those we're brought up and around, that we take on those belief systems and what we've called in our agreement to transcend. I mean, it's so amazing, what we're moving through right now, and it's never been done. This is what's so incredibly exciting. Where humanity is, where each of us are right now, has never been experienced. And we have great, profound respect and honor from so many beings and councils to ever return and recalibrate to center, because it takes great strength. It takes great honoring of who you are. To honor oneself is to go through this journey. And this is what I've experienced. And I might put together a video. I don't know. I've got so many ideas. Put together a video on truly what is sacred honor. Allowing yourself to honor all that you are as a being of grace. And really take recognition of all that you've accomplished. Remember, I've said to my kids, you can look back, because there's so many people that have said, never look back, never look back. Yeah, you got to look back. You got to look back to see how far you've come. That's the only way that you really take in that recognition and you honor every step you've taken. It takes great power and great courage to walk this path. And yeah, we slip, and yeah, we fall, and yeah, we create chaos, and yeah, we create things that are not, you know, that the intention, if we had known in our awakened state, we wouldn't have created. And why we're here creating the new balance. We're here creating that new semblance of love, allowing ourselves to know ourselves as love. Because every step of the way, and I've seen these crystalline, I'll end with this because this is a beautiful visualization that I received. These crystalline steps, and these crystalline steps are within your palace, your multidimensional palace with Source Creator, you exploring all that is, and these beautiful healing temples that are all throughout the universe, just for you, for your advancement, your evolutionary spirituality. And these crystalline steps, and my team had shown me that, you know, why we go through what we go through in the mastery of mastering our thoughts, the higher mind with the heart, merging and harmonizing, why we go through the harmonization of the multidimensional bodies, because when it's out of balance, it doesn't create, it creates what we've always had. So why we go through what we go through in mastery is that each step you create. So right now we're visualizing this beautiful crystalline stair, but it will be at the point through which when we step on that next step, there'll be nothing there. We have to create it. And then the step just disappears. And the human mind will think, oh my gosh, what do we do? Because we're always relying on what we've been taught and told, and people have always been controlling us. So we're entraining ourselves as divine sovereign beings that as we're up on that staircase, we create that next step as we step it. So that, again, the reality aligns itself, the reality arranges itself as we create it. So how can we be mindful and ever conscious and ever benevolent and loving in what we're creating? Because we're stepping upon that consciousness template. How may it be sacred and loving for all? And releasing what no longer serves you as those limiting beliefs that continue to create the discomfort and the ill that we have in our bodies and the disease. So walk and muse about that this step before me is my creation. That's how we're mindful, and you're walking with Source in it. So in the words that I'm speaking, is it source ready? You know, am I ready to step on this step? Has it been everything I've wanted it to be? And this is what I offered in our Facebook post this week, is that you're creating your Akashic record right now that you can look back on and be in joy of and be in sacredness of and in honor of. Are you living in your fullness of sacred honor? Are you living in your fullness of valuing you? You're creating your Akashic book now. So how can we be mindful and say, I'm going to create in the benevolence that all beings are sacred, all beings are love, and all beings are light regardless. I'm creating that next step. And this is what my next step, with intention, with attention, and with focus. This intention and this focus is sacred earth. Sacred earth, sacred human, sacred child, sacred oneness, sacred God, sacred source, sacred creator, sacredness. The grace of allowance. Allowing that step to unfold, you're creating it. Do you like it? Because now is your most important moment. You can change it. Soften within your heart. Call Source in. Source, live through me. Live through me, Source Creator, Divine God, Mother, Father. I'm ready to feel a level of love, a depth of love I've never felt before. And I walk this path as narrow as I can, for I believe in love. I believe in the grace that lives through me. I want to allow myself a better moment, this next moment, in joy and in sacredness, and allowing my creativity to come forward so I can stand in my power and I can release all the fears that have created illusions and chaos. Heretofore, I stand in my power now. And may every cell and every atom, everything within me, within and without, arrange itself based on this declaration of sacredness and my oneness with you. So I allow my grace to come forward. I step upon this grace, and I am grateful for this graceful path. I'm grateful for this honored path. I stand in gratitude at what I see in the mirror, for I'm magical in what I'm able to co-create with you. And in every moment, I learn to love myself in new ways and in different ways and in honorable ways, so that my words and my thoughts and my actions change and my vibratory field changes and every step forward changes. And that's the potency of love. That's the influencer of love that you are. You are an influencer of love in everything around you. And you affect the fields of those around you, affect the DNA of those around you. You are a vibration of loving grace. And so it is. And we thank you, dear lighted ones, for connecting with us and entangling with us on this very graceful day. And we wish you very happy and joyful paths of loving co-creatorship and releasing all that no longer serves and standing within your vibration and just allowing yourself to recenter and recalibrate. Anything that anytime something comes up, just say, I'm going to let that go on and recalibrate to love. I choose to create a new path of love, new timeline of love right now. I give myself forgiveness. I give myself compassion. I give myself allowance and acceptance for being all that I can in a new moment of now. A new moment of now, I'm with Source, creating gracefully in allowance for the highest and for the greatest good. Amen. Thank you, dear lighted ones, and namaste.